Welcome back to Revealing the Hidden, where we take a deeper look into Jewish living. Okay, so we're on our exploration of the eyes and the mouth. Yesterday was our first exploration into the mouth, and we're going to build more on that. You should actually note that when it comes to the mouth as being the place and the purpose of life, as we said, Chazal point out that the eyes, especially in like Sifrei Kabbalah, they'll say that the eyes are, the purpose of life, and that the mouth is the purpose of life. Sifrei Kabbalah, Sifrei Moser, Sifrei Kedusha, like Chasidus. You should know that when it comes to the mouth, there's like different terms that are used. There's the peh, and then there's also the lashon. And it's important to note that they each have like their own connotations, and they each have like a piece of messaging that's like valuable. And like I said, we're going to take a few days on this topic, so we're going to have to put some puzzle pieces together. But I want to develop the idea of the tongue a little bit, the lashon. So we're going to start with a really cool idea from the Ramami Pano, very, very deep commentator, points out that when it comes to the Teivah of Noach, so the Teivah of Noach had the dimensions of 30 by 300 by 50. 300 in length, 30 was height, and 50 in width. Those dimensions are the letters Lamed, Shin, Nun in Gematria, which is the tongue, Lashon. Again, the dimensions of the Teivah was the Lashon. If you expand on this and want to understand what's happening here, you will probably note one other thing. There's many words in Hebrew for the word. We mentioned yesterday milah and davar. There's another word, and that is teva. A teva is a word. Like, for example, when we say Roshe Tevos, the beginning of the words. So you're looking at the Teivah of Noach, and you all of a sudden have two hints to the idea of words, of expression. What is a Teivah? What does an ark have to do with expression? I've seen in a number of Sfarim and developed quite beautifully that a Teivah is something that goes and has to create a space in a place that there is not. Water, by definition, is not formatted. It's not structured. It's flowing. It's moving. The notion of location in water is very, very hard to pin down and very, very hard to stay. You can't really stay in one place in water unless you're in like a very, very, very still lake, and even then. And the idea is that water is constantly moving. And so when you're in a situation when you don't have control over where you are, you have to create structure and format within that space. So like you have a boat, and a boat can allow you to eat, a boat can allow you to sit, a boat can allow you to sleep, and all these different things that you want to be able to do while you're on the water that's constantly moving. You're a being that needs what's called makom, place, right? And it creates makom when there isn't makom. So the words that we use are thrown into, if you will, thrown out into the world. So what is it? It's a little bit weird. Like what is it saying here? What does that mean? So there's a million different ways that a person can go. Sorry for moving slow here. I just want to make sure that I'm developing this properly and you can follow the logic and that we can flow with this. There's a million different directions that you can go. There's a trillion different things that you could hear. And there's so many different lives that you can live, depending on where you want to go and what decisions you want to make in life. And as we said before, the way to create your world is through your words. It takes from the inside and spits it out. It takes who you are and who you want to be, and it tells the world that more sharply than anything else that you do. You like the idea of being able to express your feelings or your ideas. The mouth can do that more efficiently than anything else. And so when you're floating in a world and there isn't definition as to who you are yet, anytime that you take content, a thought, an idea, and want to say, this is part of who I need to format myself and define myself and create myself as, if you will, from chomer, from material, into tsura, which is form. So the mouth can do that for you, because you could take a word and you take letters and sounds and you place content inside. And that's what a Teivah is. And that's what a Lashon allows you to do. It allows you to define where there isn't definition. And so if you're really thinking about it, the place that there isn't definition is you. And you get to start to, right, like, or should I say, you vis-a-vis the world. You're moving around in the world. You don't necessarily know what's coming. You don't know where you're going to end up, who you're going to meet, what time you're going to be. There's constant movement. And the thing that you get to do to anchor yourself is to define who you are. And your words have the ability to do that. You get to affect people in the world most efficiently, most powerfully through the way that you express yourself. So for example, if I want to become an educator, so then my words will start to shape that. The way that I think about how I fill my sentences and I fill my ideas that I express with feeling, with emotion, with content, with creativity. So those words are going to be affected. If I'm a math teacher, it'll be about numbers. If I'm a history teacher, it might be about learning from the past. And so the idea is that a Teivah, the Teivas Noach, or the Lashon, right, the 30 by 300 by 50, that you're developing is really going to be the way that you could sail into a world that's constantly moving. You're going to be able to create a tsura out of the chomer that's you and get to define yourself. I know this is a little bit deep and takes a little bit more work to process, but its depth is really beautiful. Really you get to think of your tongue as a chisel. When you want to think about this in terms of the rest of the world that you're interacting with, so sometimes when you send out a Teivah, so you can send a rescue boat, you can send a war boat, right? These things that once they go and they're on the water, so you can't retract them necessarily either. Like if you're in the boat, maybe you can control them. But when the words go out, they're out into the ocean and they're out into the world and they're going to end up where they're going to end up. So if you send out a ship of pirates to go rip someone apart, guess what? You can't really pull that back. If you're going to go and say a kind word and build confidence and you've already delivered all of the goods, so to speak, you sent it out into the ocean to reach the people who need it, and you've addressed it properly with the right name and with the right feelings, then you've delivered it to them. The tongue is an amazing thing. The lashon that you have is incredible. You can change a person's life with the choice of words that you make. So while we're growing during the 3 weeks over here and trying to, as we spoke about, grow in shalom, grow in the idea of putting the ayin before the peh, our vision, our perspective, our viewing things in beautiful ways, seeing things in people as godly, and then moving into the mouth and using the mouth for goodness and for kindness and for creating and making the world a place of beauty and good things. As we're going during the 3 weeks, I hope you think about this. And if you want to make it practical, I'm a big James Clear fan. If you ever read Atomic Habits, it's about making a small, tiny, little, consistent habit that you do every day. And you do something called stacking it. There's 80% efficacy in developing the habit if you stack it. That means put it next to something else that you're already doing. I hope you brush your teeth every day. You can put it by brushing your teeth. If you're davening, you can put it right after that. And use your mouth with intent for something good. Give a compliment. Say something nice. Learn a Mishnah. Learn a halach about Hilchos Lashon Hara. Something like that. Developing a habit that will slowly build up a little bit more your feelings. I'll give you one more really good one. If you want to make another person feel good, pull up your phone, scroll, and look for someone you haven't spoken to in a while, and look at him and think about him for a second, and then text him and say, hey, thinking about you, want to know how you're doing. If you want to develop a beautiful habit that can take your words, I guess that's really your words developed by your thumb. We have to figure out how to define the thumb as part of the mouth these days. But send them a message or a voice note and just say, hey, been thinking about you. And all of a sudden you will have created a reality that's beautiful in this world through your mouth. And bless you to have a Torah growth, Avas Yisrael, Shmiras HaLashon, Tefillah answered, awesome, rocking, revealing the hidden day.